You've spent more time picking a filter than actually living the moment you were trying to capture. You've taken 47 selfies just to post one. You've pretended you woke up looking cute when in reality you looked like a zombie who lost a fight with a pillow and held a grudge about it all morning. Relax. Billions of people do this every single day. Your mom does it. Your boss does it. That guy who pretends he's too cool for social media definitely does it. He just deletes the app before anyone sees it on his phone. And this worldwide obsession with posting edited photos exists because of one guy who, believe it or not, couldn't code, couldn't take a decent photo, and created one of the biggest apps in human history, basically by accident. His name is Kevin Systrom. And this story is so ridiculously unlikely that if someone pitched it as a movie, Hollywood would say it's too unrealistic. Let's go back to the beginning. Kevin was born in 1983 in a regular family in Massachusetts. Nothing special, middle class, normal parents, normal house, normal life. But from a very young age, Kevin had a peculiar hobby that drove his parents absolutely insane. He loved to destroy things, not in a psychopath kind of way, in a curious kid kind of way. He just wanted to understand how stuff worked. The problem was his method of understanding involved taking everything apart. New video game console, dismantled within 3 days. His dad's radio in pieces by the following week. The kitchen, microwave, turned into a science project that probably violated several safety regulations. The bigger problem was that Kevin was excellent at taking things apart, but absolutely terrible at putting them back together. His house was basically a graveyard of electronics. His parents kept finding random screws and circuits in the weirdest places. Under the couch, inside shoes, once, allegedly, in the mashed potatoes. His parents were losing their minds, but looking back, that destructive little kid was developing a rare skill. He refused to just use things. He needed to understand the why behind them. He needed to see the guts, the wires, the logic. He couldn't accept surfaces. That mindset would become worth $1 billion. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Kevin grew up and got accepted into Stanford University. For those who don't know, Stanford is basically the billionaire factory of Silicon Valley. Half the people who created the modern internet studied there. Walk around campus and you might trip over a future tech mogul eating a sandwich. So, what did Kevin choose to study? Computer science. Software engineering? Advanced programming? Nope. He went for management science and engineering. Basically, a degree designed to create executives in suits and ties, boring meetings, spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, the full corporate tedium package. Kevin didn't want to create technology. He wanted to manage companies. He pictured himself in a corner office somewhere, telling other people what to do. The universe heard his plans and laughed hysterically. In 2006, Kevin scored an internship at Google. Sounds amazing, right? Google, the most innovative company on the planet at that time. The place where geniuses went to build the future. There was just one tiny little problem. Kevin couldn't code. Like, at all. Zero. Nothing. He looked at a line of code and saw alien hieroglyphics, trying to communicate a message he would never understand. While real programmers around him were creating algorithms and building products, Kevin sat in a corner doing simple tasks, organizing stuff, helping with projects that didn't require technical skills. Basically, being useful in the way that someone who can't cook is useful in a kitchen, washing dishes and staying out of the way. But here's where Kevin was smarter than he looked. Instead of pretending he understood everything and faking his way through, he observed, he watched, he paid attention. He observed how people used products. He noticed what features they actually clicked on versus what features they ignored. He watched what worked and what flopped. He studied patterns of behavior like a scientist studying lab rats, except the lab rats were Google employees and they had better snacks. And during that time, he realized something that would eventually change everything. People love to share moments. They love showing off their lives. They love appearing more interesting than they actually are. Everyone wants to seem like they're living their best life, even if their actual life involves eating cereal for dinner and watching the same show for the fourth time. Kevin filed that observation away in his brain. He'd need it later. Fast forward to 2010. Kevin had left Google and was trying to build his own thing. But before we talk about the app, I need to tell you about a trip. Kevin went to Italy with his girlfriend, Nicole. Romantic scenery. Perfect lighting. The beautiful Tuscan countryside. Everything looked like a painting. Nicole asked Kevin to take a photo of her. The result was a disaster. The photo looked like it was taken by a potato that was also having a bad day. Blurry, dark, unflattering. Nicole looked at it and immediately said there was no way in hell she was posting that anywhere. Her grandma would see it. Her co-workers would see it. Her ex would see it. Absolutely not. Then she showed Kevin the photos that one of their friends had been posting. Professional looking, beautiful colors, vintage filters, warmy tones. That old-school film aesthetic that makes everything look like a memory from a better time. Kevin asked what expensive camera their friend was using. Nicole laughed and said he was using a regular phone, just like everyone else. The difference was that he applied filters and editing. And right there, in that exact moment, Kevin's brain exploded. Think about it. People want to post photos. Phone cameras at that time were pretty bad. Everyone wants to look professional without putting in professional effort. Everyone wants to seem like they have an aesthetic life without actually having the skills to create one. Why not make something that solves all of that automatically? Why not give everyone the power to look like a photographer without knowing anything about photography? That random conversation about an ugly photo in Italy was about to be worth $1 billion. But Kevin didn't know that yet. He just knew he had an idea that was making his brain itch. He flew back home absolutely possessed. Together with Mike Krieger, an actual programmer who knew what he was doing, Kevin started building an app. But it wasn't Instagram. Not yet. It was called Bourbon. Yes, like bourbon, the whiskey. Because Kevin liked whiskey, look, geniuses are weird sometimes. You just have to accept it. Bourbon was a monster of an app. It did location check-ins. It posted photos. It let you make plans with friends. It had a points system, messaging features, and about 15 other functions that absolutely nobody asked for. Kevin and Mike were proud of their creation. They launched it to a test group of users, expecting praise and excitement. The result was embarrassing. People were confused. They didn't understand what the app was supposed to do. They clicked buttons accidentally. They got lost in menus. It was so complicated that half the users gave up before posting anything at all. One person said using Bourbon felt like trying to fly a helicopter without any training. Another said they accidentally checked into a location in another state. Someone claimed they somehow ordered food through the app, even though that wasn't even a feature. Bourbon was flopping hard. Months of work were circling the drain. But Kevin did something that most creators are too proud to do. Instead of insisting the app was great and the users were just stupid, he went to look at the actual data. He wanted to see what people were really doing inside the app. What he found was bizarre. Out of the 15 features in Bourbon, users were ignoring 14 of them. They weren't doing check-in. They weren't using the points system. They weren't planning meets. They were only doing one thing: posting photos with filters. That's it. Photos. Filters. Over and over again. All that complex code, all those sleepless nights, all those elaborate features that Kevin thought were genius. And people just wanted one simple little thing. Most entrepreneurs would have been offended. How dare these users ignore all the hard work? How dare they reduce a sophisticated app to just one basic feature? Kevin wasn't offended. Kevin was fascinated. And then he made the bravest decision of his career. He decided to delete almost everything. Kevin and Mike sat down and started cutting features like surgeons removing tumors. Check-in, gone. Points, system, trash. Complicated messaging, deleted. Friend, meet planning, goodbye forever. They eliminated months of work in a matter of days. They killed their own baby and felt good about it. What remained was almost insultingly simple. Take a photo, apply a filter, share it. 3 steps. Any idiot could do it. Your grandma could do it. A toddler could probably do it. They needed a new name since bourbon didn't make sense anymore. Kevin combined the words instant and telegram and landed on Instagram. It took him about 10 seconds to think of it. Sometimes the best ideas really are the simplest ones. On October 6, 2010, Instagram launched on the App Store. What happened next was absolutely surreal and completely unexpected. First day, 25,000 downloads. The server almost caught fire. First week, 100,000 users. First month, 1 million people posting photos of coffee, dogs, sunsets, and of course, food. So much food. Avocado toast. Before avocado toast was even a thing, Kevin and Mike could barely keep the app running. They were just 2 guys working out of a tiny apartment, trying to hold on to a rocket that wouldn't stop accelerating. They weren't sleeping. They were barely eating. Every time they fixed one server problem, another one popped up. They had created a monster, a beautiful, filtered, aesthetically pleasing monster. Within 1 year, Instagram had 10 million users. Within 2 years, 30 million. People who had never heard of the app suddenly couldn't imagine life without it. Celebrities started using it. Brands started advertising on it. Regular people started becoming famous just for posting pretty pictures. A whole new economy was being born, and Kevin was standing in the middle of it, probably still in disbelief. And then the phone rang. On the other end was Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook guy, the hoodie, billionaire, the man who looked like he was assembled in a factory but somehow controlled how billions of people communicated. Zuckerberg wanted to buy Instagram, and he wasn't playing around. The initial offer was rejected. Kevin wanted more. Zuckerberg increased the number. Kevin refused again. He knew what he had. He wasn't going to give it away cheap. Zuckerberg got impatient and dropped the final number. $1 billion. $1 billion. For a photo app with filters, created by a guy who couldn't code when he started, who began as an intern, who didn't know what he was doing, who only got the idea because his girlfriend complained about an ugly photo in Italy. Let that sink in for a moment. The girlfriend photo complaints led to a billion-dollar company. There's probably a lesson in there about listening to people when they complain. Kevin accepted the offer. The year was 2012. Instagram was less than 2 years old. The company had 13 employees. 13 people. $1 billion. Do the math on that. Each employee was worth roughly $77 million on paper. The janitor at that office, if they had won, was technically worth more than most CEOs make in a lifetime. Now, what in the world does this insane story actually teach us? First lesson. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. Kevin wasn't a programmer. He learned the basics along the way, just enough to be dangerous. His co-founder, Mike, was the one who actually knew how to code. Kevin's superpower was observing people, watching behavior, noticing patterns. That turned out to be worth more than any technical skill. Second, listen. Pay attention to what people do, not what they say. Nobody asked for a photo filter app. If you had surveyed people in 2009 and asked them what they wanted, they would have given you 100 answers that had nothing to do with Instagram. But when Kevin offered filters, everyone used them obsessively. The best opportunities are hidden in behaviors, not in surveys or focus groups. Third lesson. Don't be afraid to throw away what isn't working. Kevin deleted 90% of his work without crying about it. Most people prefer to sink with the ship rather than admit they built the wrong ship. Kevin preferred to swim. Pride kills more startups than lack of funding ever will. Fourth lesson, simplicity wins. Bourbon had 15 features and nobody cared. Instagram had 3 features and conquered the world. When everything is important, nothing is important. Complexity is often just insecurity wearing a fancy mask. Fifth lesson. Timing and luck matter more than anyone wants to admit. Kevin launched Instagram right when smartphone cameras were getting better, right when social media was becoming mainstream, right when people were starting to care about their online image. A few years earlier, it wouldn't have worked. A few years later, someone else would have done it. He hit the window perfectly, and part of that was absolutely luck. Today, Instagram has over 2 billion users. It's worth well over $100 billion. It fundamentally changed how humanity relates to images, beauty, fame, and let's be honest, envy and insecurity. It created influencers as a career path. It launched products. It shaped political campaigns. It made everyone believe that everyone else's life was better than theirs. It gave us filters that make us look like we have perfect skin, big eyes, and no problems. Psychologists write papers about it. Parents worry about it. Teenagers are addicted to it. And absolutely nobody can stop scrolling. All of this started because an observant intern took a bad photo of his girlfriend in Italy and actually listened when she complained about it. So, next time you spend 20 minutes choosing between the Clarendon filter and the Valencia filter, remember this story. Remember that the difference between $1 billion idea and a useless idea might just be one question. What do people actually want? Not what they say they want. Not what they think they should want. What do they actually do when nobody's watching? Kevin figured out the answer. We want to look better than we are. We want our lives to seem more interesting than they feel. We want validation from strangers and approval from friends. And apparently, we're willing to pay billions for it. The estagiario Wang, the intern who broke microwaves as a kid, who studied the wrong thing in college, who couldn't code his way out of a paper bag, ended up changing how 2 billion people see themselves and each other. If that's not the most accidentally successful story in tech history, I don't know what is. And somewhere out there, Kevin Systrom is probably taking a photo right now. Hopefully, it's better than that first one in Italy.